started to write this book, A Passion for Adult Learning, because even though Fielding wasn't established all that long ago, it was established in 1974, many of us have forgotten the story. Many of us have forgotten why Fielding started, what the founders intended, and it's really quite a remarkable story. I mean, this was a group of rebels. This was a group of people who were not just starting a new graduate program. They were starting a radically different kind of graduate program. I had the pleasure of knowing each of the founders. I was one of the first few faculty members hired. And partly I wrote it just to share the story of what they were trying to do, in what ways it was a radical learning model, and in what ways they knew that, the founders knew, that this was going to be a tough battle, getting Fielding accepted in the landscape of higher education. So in part it's an institutional history, a kind of a snapshot of those early years, the first generation from 1974 to about the mid-1980s. And then the book is also a series of reflections on how Fielding has changed since that first generation. And it's one thing to start a mission-oriented program that really sets out to do a very distinctive thing. It's something else entirely to maintain that program, to maintain that sense of a mission. Fielding was one of the very first universities in the country to recognize that the internet was going to change higher education. And remember that Fielding started well before most people had computers. I mean, it wasn't until the mid-'80s that the laptop computer became widely used, and it wasn't until the early 2000s that the internet as we know it was available. But Fielding was one of the very first graduate programs to anticipate that that would be a game changer in higher education. Fielding was the first fully accredited distance graduate program in the country. So we were a pioneer in many ways, and many of the specific practices and approaches that Fielding initiated have been picked up ever since then. Some of them in the last 10 years or so are considered game changers. They're considered brand new outcome-based, assessment-based education. So in many ways, it's not only that Fielding was a pioneer, it's that many other institutions have picked up on the innovations that Fielding first tried out.